Hey, welcome in, welcome in. Okay, so I've just primed the minis with Vallejo Black Primer, and we're just having a close look at the model. And all we're doing is we're investigating where all the light spots are and where all the dark spots are. And also just like to point out places like on his shoulder. Games Workshop have been kind enough to sort of put like muscle fibres in, and that'll be really handy for when we're adding layers later on. And yeah, just making the muscles like stick out and look really cool. But yeah, I'm just pointing out there is a lot of dark spots on the model. So yeah, even though we do aim not to leave the muscles as like separated with these big dark areas, it is actually like completely fine to do that and use that to give the muscles depth and definition. And yeah, it also just makes the model look cool from a distance as well as up close. So yeah, it's just a bit of a difference if you're doing like a piece for a bust. You probably wouldn't leave the darker shadows in between the muscles. But for a gaming piece and a piece that you'll be using, it's actually like nice to leave some of the darker areas, just so you can have the definition for when it's further away. So yeah, it looks cool up close and from a distance. So yeah, I'm just going to be doing a zenithal highlight over the entire model using this white Vallejo primer. And I've already got thinner in the paintbrush, and I'm just showing you how much you actually need to like thin the paint to get it to come out smooth and nice. So as you can see, like the paint thinner in the paint cup is pretty much full. I've just added like a few drops in. We're going to mix it, and you can see it looks like super thin and really runny. And we'll just be testing it out in a moment. And yeah, I am using the Geraldes airbrush with the smallest needle, the 0.15. And yeah, we're just giving it a quick test on my hand. So yeah, it starts out alright. I'm just going to keep going with it. I'm spraying it 2 bar. I'm getting a bit of dry tip already. And if you just look, you can sort of see that it's been spluttering. And what that is, it just means it's still not thin enough. So we need to add even more thinner to it. And again, I'm just keeping the pressure the same, so I'm spraying at 2 bar, which means my regulator is set just above 2 bar, and when I press the trigger and air comes out, the needle dips to 2 bar. So yeah, just adding in the extra thinner now. Okay, giving it another spray. And as you can see, that's coming out so much smoother, even though it did seem super thin before. It is so much thinner now, and there's no spluttering. The air pressure's the same, so this is what you need to look for. Okay, so I'm just doing it from a zenithal perspective. I'm aiming at the moment just onto the armor on the legs, and this will be like where I'm going to be concentrating most of the red color when we spray it over the white. So yeah, I'm just sort of selecting where my light source is going to be. You can do that off of the bulbs, or you could take a reference photo. But mostly I'll just be doing it just where I think it looks cool. So that's what he looks like so far. I've gone ahead and done the skin, and as you can see, like when you spray from a zenithal perspective, you do get left with a lot of dark. And yeah, it's really cool because you get all the different contrast and definition. So yeah, it is cool to leave some of the darker areas in the flesh. And I'm just going to be going back in with this the Black Templar and thin down, and I'm just going to be enhancing some of the shadows and bringing some of the shadows back in. You can go back and forth with this technique, going between the white and the black, and just get it really tight in how you want it, or you can just do it within the first pass. But yeah, I just thought I'd show you just putting some shadow back in, just so you can see what that's like. I'll just be using this matte black now, and I'll be lining all of the armor panels. Now you could do this a lot easier if you use oil washes. So if you're happy and comfortable to use like a pin wash, I definitely recommend that instead. This is definitely an optional step. You could just do this over the white areas and leave all the parts in the black, but I'll be doing it over everything. But yeah, sometimes this step can get sort of hidden when you spray on the next colour. So when I go to spray red on there, some of these black lines may fade or disappear. You can add them back on again after, but this is sort of like a cool way to try, and it's not really cheating because it is still all the effort and work, but it's a little bit safer than when you do it over the red. But yeah, it is a unnecessary step if you're not bothered about lining all the trim. It does look cool without it, and like I say, it can get covered up anyway. So I'm just using this Monument Transparent Red as the main colour for him. I'll just be spraying this all over his armour panels on his legs. But yeah, just with these transparent reds, and similarly to the Bile Red from Games Workshop, you do have to build up the layers. It does come out like super magenta, which is really cool, and has some like good uses or good case scenarios for using it. But as soon as we want him to be red, just make sure you build it up to the red. And yeah, we're mainly aiming onto the white parts of the armour and leaving the black parts in the shadow alone. It's okay to creep over slightly and get some transition, but yeah, just mainly try and keep it onto the white parts. So yeah, that is a really nice vibrant red once built up. Really cool. And we're just going to be using this blue, and I'll be spraying that at the shadows. And again, it's okay to let it creep slightly over onto the red. And yeah, we're not trying to turn the shadows blue. We're just sort of adding a bit more colour interest in the shadow areas, and also as it sort of creeps over onto the red, you get this nice purple come through. But yeah, it's a really nice effect. Again, you can go back and forth with this as well, going between the blue and the red, but you can do it just in one pass as well. Cool, so I'm just going back in with the red again. I'm just going to be hitting some more of the sort of the transition areas between the shadows and where we've got the red. And yeah, hopefully getting a bit more of the purple sort of shadow transition come through, which I think looks particularly cool. But yeah, this whole thing with the Xenophor and adding the colours over the top, this is the way I learned how to paint. I don't paint as much this way because I just use the colours I like to use straight off. But it is a really nice learning tool to use a white zenithal over the black. It just gives you a good idea of where you want your shadows and your highlights and stuff to be. And yeah, you get to get a cool look at the contrast of the model before you start. So it's like makes a nice roadmap for you for when you start adding colour. So yeah, I'm just gonna black out all of the trim now and all of the other metal parts, or just parts that aren't the armour or the skin. And yeah, again, this is another unnecessary step, but it does look cool and it does give you another good roadmap for putting your next colours. So yeah, I'm just going to be hitting the trim with this Balthasar gold now. So yeah, if you didn't want to do the black, you could just move straight onto the Balthasar gold. I know some people actually recoil in horror at the thought of that, but it's absolutely fine. You do it all the time, it looks great, absolutely nothing wrong with it. But if you want to be an absolute sadist or masochist to yourself, yeah, definitely black out all the trim and then do it all again with the gold. But yeah, looking sick, always worth the effort. I'll just be hitting all the silver parts of this lead belcher. And yeah, I like to put it on there sort of in a rough motion, get some texture on there whilst we're putting the paint down. Just adds to the depth and the story of the piece. Cool, he's looking pretty cool already. I actually kind of like the how the white zenithal and where that red overspray's gone onto his skin. He's got this cool sort of purpley white flesh going on. I'm just using this Stegodon green to go over all the black bits. Just add a little bit of a highlight to it. And then I'm just going to go over all the silver parts with the Nuln oil. Yeah, just have another quick look at them, make sure we're happy before we move on to the next steps. But yeah, well happy with them already. Definitely looking cool. You'll just be going over all of his trim, and we're basically just like picking out the most raised parts and where we think the light would catch it the most. You can go, when you do the armor panels, you can go super stark with it and paint it really flat against everywhere that's red, and just don't paint the bits that are in the shadow, the darker bits. But yeah, I just like sort of catching the edges and adding texture to it. You know, just doing the same thing with this brighter silver over all the silver parts. Again, just adding texture and like hitting the most raised parts. So these are the colours I'm going to be using for his skin. We're going to go for a native European skin tone. And I've just been really inspired by, I was just finished watching this film called The Northman. If you haven't watched that film, I'd definitely recommend that and check that one out. We've also watched Frozen, which is a bit different, but yeah, it was a really cool film, and yeah, it just got me inspired for the native European skin tone. I think we're going for like Princess Elsa's like super beautiful like Icelandic skin, and yeah, it'd just be nice to try and recreate that on one of these models. It's sort of fun to have the juxtaposition of something like nice and beautiful, like Princess Elsa, and then just have like the same thing but put onto one of these brutal looking Exalted 8-bound models. But yeah, also the footage for the first part got corrupt, so I went back in over one of these 8-bound ones, and I'm just like recreating it now for you. So all we're doing is going in with the darkest colour and painting it into the creases, and we'll be sort of like wet blending the more pinky colour down into it, and then going up to the Acadian flesh tone. So basically I'm just showing you the first 3 colours that I did to get to the next stage from where the video carries on with the Exalted 8-bound. So yeah, as you can see, just like painting in the lines, and we're sort of using the white zenithal as like a road map. So everywhere where it's dark, I'm putting the darkest colour, and then just where it's sort of like grey, going for the in-between, and then the highest white, we're going for like the Acadian flesh tone. But yeah, we're just sort of just wet blending them together and just getting a nice base for our skin tone down. So I'll also be doing a little bit of feathering as well. So just in case you're not sure what these terms mean. So wet blending's just basically having 2 wet paints and smushing them together that sort of create a nice transition between the 2. So you get like a nice fade from the lighter colour into the darker colour. And then feathering's basically, so once you've put a colour down and you've got like the hard line of the edge, you sort of void the brush and then just like wipe away the edge, and yeah, it's just like just get through the hard edge. It sounds a lot more difficult than it is, but as long as you're using like really thin down paints, like you'll notice like it's really easy to do, and yeah, not as daunting as it sounds. Definitely like they seem like proper, like, I don't know, like pro techniques, but honestly, when you get used to the paint dilution, they're actually like really easy to do. And yeah, it's nice. You just gotta experiment, have some patience, and like just practice it, and you'll realize it's not as hard as it seems. Yeah, as you can see, I'm just sort of like just wet blending the colours in. We've got like a nice like a plummy colour, and we're just going in with the Acadian flesh tone and mixing it in, and just lightening the skin up to more of like a skin flesh tone. But yeah, it looks really cool because it's like sort of like raw and exposed muscle, which is nice because then we'll actually be able to add like the flesh over the top of it. But yeah, again, just main emphasis on just trying to get in all of like the creases and stuff, the darker colour, and then sort of blend in the pinky colour, and then the skin tone, like the Acadian flesh tone into it. We've got all these nice gradients to work with when we go to add our sort of final layers of the flesh tones that we're using. Yeah, a really cool technique. It's nice to work this way and have all your colours on the wet palette. You can sort of bounce around and just go back in where you think you need more of whichever colour you're working with. You want to darken up an area or lighten up an area, or just try and get like a better gradient between the colours. So yeah, definitely a nice way to work, and it's looking really cool. Like, it looks really cool already. And we're only like 3 of the colours in, so Yeah, nice. Yeah, basically just laying a really nice foundation for when we start adding like our skin pigments onto it. But yeah, I definitely recommend, even if like with the 8-bound ones where I've left the armor on, if you just wanted to practice doing flesh tones, I'd definitely recommend leaving the armor off. And then you've got like 3 models to like paint the skin to completion in like quite large areas. So yeah, you've got like a lot of like room or like skin to like practice with. And then yeah, just stick the armor on after. So yeah, definitely try and take the opportunities to learn while you can, because it's not always fun to say like paint the model and then just spray it black again and then paint it again and then like spray it back again. Like yeah, you've actually like with this you've got the opportunity to actually like practice the skin tones that you want to practice before putting the armor on, and then once you're satisfied with one you could like stick the armor on and then practice again on the next one, and you still end up with like a completed model at the end, but also you've had like 3 practice pieces. And also if you know you feel like you've like gone over it too many times and can sort of, I don't know, you feel like you're sort of like starting to block up like the detail and stuff, even though we're using like super thin paint, like it can like build up if you like go over and over and over it like way too many times. And yeah, you've sort of got the freedom of doing that, and then yeah, you can just hide it by just sticking the armor on, and then yeah, just try again on the next one. So yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, and again, it's like putting some more emphasis in, you know, trying to practice these different techniques. Like, I do remember the first time trying to wet blend and I had like no idea what it was, and I just used like 2 different like really thick paints or like colors that don't really blend together well, and you know, just, you know, not feeling frustrated but just wondering, oh, why is it not like working how I think it should. And then yeah, just over time realizing, oh, actually if you've thinned the paint enough and yeah, you're quick enough, say once you've put one paint down, you're quick enough to like get the other paint down to like smush into it, and it hasn't dried out yet, it's actually like they come together really nice and you get more of like an expected result. And yeah, it's just yeah, really nice way to get the foundations and gradients down for when you start doing like more sort of traditional layering. But yeah, it's really cool. This is the point of where I got up to for the Exalted 8-bound, so this is where we'll be starting from when the video goes back over to the Exalted 8-bound. Cool, and then here we are. So yeah, this is exactly the same technique, the first 3 colours. This is what's on. I've obviously gone round and done his whole torso and both his arms and his face. And then yeah, basically just be doing the same thing, be doing less wet blending, little bits of feathering. But yeah, just gradually working our way up through the gradients until we get to our native European skin tone that we're after. And yeah, just like what I was saying at the start of the video, when it was in the black primer with the white zenithal over the top, sort of just trying to keep in mind where all the dark points were and where all the lighter points are. And you could take a picture of that and use it as a reference, which is always like a really nice learning tool. I tend not to do that and sort of not memorize it, but just like keep it in mind as I'm doing it. I find a lot of the time, because I quite like realistic looking, and sometimes doing a realistic thing doesn't look as cool as like when as you're working and you do something which looks cool. Sometimes the cool thing isn't the realistic thing to do. So it's nice not to like set that solid boundary of, right, I have to copy from this image and have it exact, and we can't like deviate from that. And yeah, it's just sometimes that's not very fun, and also yeah, it doesn't look as cool as when you do deviate. So yeah, it's just like something to keep in mind. So yeah, getting the first few layers on, starting to look really cool. Well pleased with how he's looking so far. And yeah, as you can see, as we're getting lighter, we're adding like less and less and covering less of the surface area. And we're also concentrating more on, like when I was pointing out earlier about the muscle fibers. So yeah, we're just trying to follow the lines and put some texture in and create some definition. Just gently picking out some of his facial features. Again, just getting some more definition in, plenty of contrast. But yeah, he is looking super cool already. I'm really pleased with how he's looking. So yeah, definitely getting there. It's always nice after you've done a bit just to take some time to look at the model and see what you want to add or take away. Here we are, just adding some more lines and the texture. So again, just following the sort of muscle fibers, and you'd usually do this anyway, even if it's not sculpted in. It just really helps define the muscles and make it look more realistic. But yeah, just on these models, we're like I was saying earlier, Games Workshop is kind enough to like have some indications of like muscle fibers, like on the like physical ones on the model. So yeah, it's nice. We're just sort of following that and emphasizing them. Yeah, and also just a side note, you can, if you didn't want the dark lines between the muscles like as much as like I've done on this one, you can just like feel free to like close the gap on them. I sort of like having a good in between. I really like to be able to see like all of the muscle definition. I also like the look of like the model looks cool up close, but it also looks cool from a distance. And with the other two, I'll show you like what the other two look like. So on one of them, I put less space in between the muscles, and then I did like a oneness in the middle, so just so you can see what you'd prefer to do. But I think this looks the coolest. Like, it looks really cool. The muscles are really defined. It looks like really sick up close, but also you can see all the definition and how cool it looks from like far away. So when it's on the gaming table, it's going to look cool as well, not just up close. But yeah, just super pleased with him. I just love how like smooth the skin is, yet he does look like rough and rugged, and definitely like he's sore and been in battle. And yeah, I'm just going to go over some of the black with the black like the tubing and pipes that's in his skin, and using the silver just to go over all the rivets and stuff. But yeah, these are super cool models. I'm really having like loads of fun painting these. So yeah, definitely like a 10 out of 10 model to paint. Just yeah, super nice, loads of detail. And yeah, I love the option that they look really good without their armor on. So yeah, I like being able to sort of like do that. And yeah, I've chosen to have my Exalted 8-bound without the armor tops on, and just the regular 8-bound with the armor on. Yeah, super cool. So yeah, we're going to do some blue pigmented eyes. And yeah, so you're putting the off-white on to begin with, and to be honest, if you didn't want to do the pigmented eyes, that's like a really cool place to stop. He does like look really like demonic and possessed just with the off-white eyes. It looks really cool. So yeah, and all we're doing is just adding the blue into the middle, doing a tiny black dot in the middle of that, and then we'll be doing like a tiny white dot just up to the top right of that. And yeah, again, if you're struggling to do this, yeah, I'd definitely say yeah, just leave it as the off-white, because that did look like super cool. So yeah, we're just giving him a look over and make sure we're happy with him. I think he's looking pretty awesome. Yeah, well pleased with him. Absolutely love painting these models. So I'm just going to be using this Balthazar gold to be going over all of the wires coming out of his head. And so I just chose that colour because I thought, yeah, it would sort of replicate like long flowing blonde hair coming off of him, just to keep with our native European theme. I'm just going to be highlighting his hair with this colour. Just adding some bit more pop and texture to it. But yeah, super pleased with how he's turning out so far. Definitely, yeah, one of the coolest models, I reckon. And yeah, we're just going to be doing one of the skulls dangling off him. I did actually miss it and started putting his base and stuff on, and then I noticed it, so it's sort of like half buried. But yeah, just using the Abshanti bone just to give it some texture and a skull colour. And yeah, I'm just giving you a look at him, and then like I was saying earlier, this is one of the models where I sort of closed the gap between the muscles more. So yeah, still looks like super cool. And yeah, looking cool up close. He will look cool far away as well, but yeah, just not as defined far away as the original one. And then this is the one that's like in between. So yeah, just bear that in mind, see which one you'd prefer to do it like. Yeah, that brings us to the end. Thanks for watching.
Like, comment, subscribe, share.